big puzzle, right? But the key to a
Hey
big puzzle,
Nick,
guys,
the
is you got to
volume's a
keep
little low. Are
putting
you
the pieces
sharing
together. And
volume?
sometimes the
Are you
pieces
sharing
don't fit
sound, or is it
smooth.
playing off your speaker?
Sometimes the pieces, it's like, you know,
You
anybody
know
ever
what?
had a puzzle where you try to, you know it wasn't the
Yeah.
right fit, but you try to force it? Am I the only one that's trying to force a piece, and then ultimately I just say right now, the picture don't even look, this doesn't even make sense for this piece to even go there. But the key is, though, even in life, you hit some brick walls, and it seems like you can't try to figure it out, and you got to know when to stop trying to force some things. See, some things, when our life is not going the way we want it to go, it's because we try to force certain things that shouldn't be a part of our life. You got to even know when you got to function in the funk, a part of functioning in the funk is knowing when to pull out. This right here don't belong in my life. And sometimes in relationship with people, you got to know when to pull out. This ain't what God has intended. This ain't a part of my big picture. This doesn't bring me closer to my destiny. You got to stop. If it don't fit, this guy told me this on the way back from Ozarks. If it don't fit, don't force it. Certain things you got to relax and you got to let it go. It just don't fit. Certain people don't fit in your life. Some people ain't a part of God's plan for your life. Certain things that you're doing ain't a part of his plan. Certain career paths that you take, you know you're supposed to been left that job. It ain't a part of your destiny. But sometimes fear keeps you from moving forward and making the hard decisions when you're trying to put your life together. Fear, or you're comfortable. Some people you're just comfortable with, but you're supposed to eliminate them from your day-to-day process because they don't fit. And so if you ever want to complete this puzzle in this thing called life, it's important to also understand when your life is difficult as it is. Let me say that again. Life is difficult as it is. To add to that, complicate that with stuff that you know shouldn't be a part of your life, things that add burden, things that grieves your spirit, or people that grieve your spirit. I'm not saying you're not supposed to have challenges with people. Everybody you have a challenge with ain't supposed to be eliminated from your life. Some of your difficult people is supposed to be a part of your life, right? Like some people are supposed to be that thorn in your flesh. Some people challenging you actually make you better. But you got to disseminate that, because some people challenges leads to your detriment. Other challenges make you have to overcome obstacles, but it makes you better long term. You got to be able to decipher that. And you got to be able to decipher that early. But as you put this thing called life together, the pieces ain't gonna always come together as soon as you want to. Some puzzles you think you want to be done in 15 minutes with a puzzle. Some of them take an hour, some of them take 2 hours. But man, when that thing get complete, you can see the vision clearer. But if you stop when you in construction, guys, you don't know what you're missing out on, and that's what a lot of people talk about that. So you go to the next slide, guys. So I'm gonna give y'all 7 key points, 7 ways to. I'm gonna call it funk it up. You can call it whatever you want, right? There's functioning in the funk. I'm talking about 7 ways that you can funk it up. Because certain things in our life, like oftentimes it's easy and it's comfortable to point the finger out as to why you're losing. Point the finger out as to why it didn't work. It's easier to say that they were the reason, they were the cause. No. Certain things in life, whatever your life is, it ain't based on what nobody else did. At some point, you got to accept that even if you think it was the person, you made the decision to keep that piece that didn't fit into your puzzle in the wrong spot. Some people are supposed to be on the outside of your circle, not the inside. So at the end of the day, wherever your life is, guys, you have to take accountability. So it ain't 7 ways that they funked it up for you. It's 7 ways that you can funk this thing up. In this thing called life, in this thing called business, in this thing called relationship. 7 ways that you can funk it up. See, when I used to wake up in the morning thinking about what somebody else did to cause me pain, I started thinking about what can I do? What could I have done differently? If you don't shift that thinking to what could I have done differently? What can I do differently? Guys, you stay in that eerie place. And at the end of the day, you want to move your life forward. You want to be able to keep progressing. So you got to take accountability in order to function in the funk. You got to take accountability of what you can do. Because I can't control what nobody else do. Only person I can control is me. So let's talk about the 7 key ways, right, that you can funk it up. First way is not having a daily routine. See, most people, they wake up in the morning in life with no plan. No plan. Like I don't have a routine of what I'm going to do today to get closer to what my destiny is. The only routine that most people have is when they get up, I'm going to wash my face, I'm going to brush my teeth, and I'm going to do something to my head. But beyond that, it's whatever their job got planned for them. It's nothing about your purpose. Like, you put here for a reason. Whether you put on earth for a reason or you put in this business for a reason, you are here for a reason. What do you have planned in your daily routine to get you closer to that reason? You have to have things in place. No man builds a house unless first he got to count the cost. It's going to cost you something to be what you're supposed to be, to accomplish what you're supposed to accomplish. It's going to cost you something. And whatever that price is, there has to be something in a daily routine that you clearly see that you're paying that price so you can have whatever it is that you want. And you got to look at your daily routine and ask yourself, what am I doing for me and my destiny? And if you have nothing in that plan, guys, you're not going to be fulfilled, and it's not going to get fulfilled. So think about this. Here's my next point, Shonda. For your kids, you got a routine. For your kids, because there's certain things that you know needs to happen for that child to be productive during that day. When you got a little baby, right wakes up in the morning, the first thing we tell her to do, go potty. First thing, soon as she wake up, go potty. We got a plan for her life. How you got plans for your kids, like in a routine for them, but you have none for you? See, you have a routine for your kids because you have an expectation. There's a certain time they got to get to school. There's a certain time they got to get to bed. Right? So you got this routine in place. Kiana just walked right into school right now. When she got up, the first thing I seen her do is go to the pot, wash her face, eat something, brush her teeth, got dressed, now it's off to school. Now she's going to be at school till about 5 o'clock. At 5 o'clock, I'm going to go get her. We got a routine for her. We're going to come home. We're going to do some homework. She's going to watch some TV, play on her iPhone. We're going to eat dinner, take a bath. She's going back to bed. We got it all planned out because we want certain results. See, and this is detail. Some of y'all look like, damn, that's the same way I do with my baby. See, you got a routine. The key to success is in your daily routine. You want a successful day for your kid, you got a routine for them. But let's think about our life. You got a job. Your boss have a routine for you. See, we talk about our routine in 6 for ambition. Just typical skills. This is how most people do it. So they don't have success. They know at 8 o'clock in the morning, we're going to get on here and do some training. They know that part. So they're going to wake up at 8 o'clock, and they know they're going to log into Zoom at 6:10 because they think 6:10 is on time and not 7:59. Y'all will catch that later. We're going to possibly send out 25 inbox to our Facebook friends to try to interest them in what we're doing. Maybe we're going to do that because it's not a clear routine. That's why you don't have no success, because you don't have a routine. It's maybe I'm going to send out 25 inboxes. It ain't I'm going to send out. It's maybe. It's optional to you. But you want to wonder why you're successful, why you're not successful, because you have no daily routine. It ain't when I feel like being productive. I got this routine. This is systematic for me in my life. No matter what you do, you have to have a routine. This is how I do it. Right? And maybe I'm gonna set appointments on every hour, and then I'm gonna see whatever else the day brings about. No clear routine. If you have to think about your daily routine, you don't have one. But you're saying you want to have success, but you don't have nothing that's routine to get you there. Listen, I would not want to take a plane. I wouldn't get on a plane if the damn pilot didn't have a navigation system. I just wouldn't do that. See, you are the pilot for your life. You're the pilot for your business. How don't you have a navigation system on and a routine or a plan, a pathway in what you're gonna take? How you plan to get where you're supposed to go with no direction? There is a time attached to when I want to get there too. That's another key element why people don't be saying they don't have no routine, they don't have no time frame. They just wake up and hope they win. You're not gonna hope you win. You're not gonna hope your way to a victory. You don't win on accident, you win on purpose. And so for your life, you have to have direction. You have to have a plan. And it has to become at some point for you to really win non-negotiable. See, I didn't start experiencing any level of success to any magnitude until I made what I needed to do to be successful non-negotiable. You got to be the best boss to you for your life. You got to be the best boss for you. You think about you go to work your job, they got a specific hours for you and a schedule. You allow your company has a plan for you because they know if you do what they need done, that they fulfill their purpose. How you be great to somebody else's kingdom and not great for your own? You got to have a schedule for you in your life and your ambitions and your plan and what you want to accomplish. Give yourself specific hours of the things that need to get done for you to win is getting done. Inspect what you expect. Your job, they got performance grades on you. I don't care if you work at the McDonald's. I don't care if you're a school teacher. I don't care if you work on the assembly line. They have expectations and they have ways to measure if you're getting that done. Assign tasks with an expectation that we will be completed in a specific time frame. I see it's like the silly little lady that told the dude, you ain't gonna keep on getting these cookies if you don't marry me. So he goes down to the local pawn shop and he gets a ring and he proposed to you. And that satisfies your heart, but he never gave you a date. He never committed to you. He just proposed. No time frame. Not when I'm gonna get it done. I'm gonna keep giving you this little bit of teaser, but I ain't made no commitment towards it. It's the same thing with your life and your goals. When you gonna get it done? What you want to do and when we gonna do it by? We ain't gonna stay engaged on my goals forever. Hell, when you get married. Don't mistake because you got a ring on it, because you wake up in the morning and kind of act like you're in business for yourself. You wake up, you ain't gonna let the dude treat you like that, I hope. He can't stay engaged with you for 10, 20, 30 years. Ultimately, you want to be married. Ultimately, you want to have kids. Ultimately, you want to raise a family. When is that process? What's the date on that? Are you engaged to your mission? Are you engaged to your vision? Or did you put a date on it to marry it? Goals without timelines is wishful thinking. Goals without timelines is wishful thinking. So you can't make excuses. At your job, they tell you, hey, you got to come in early. You there. You got to stay late. You there. We got mandatory overtime. You're there. Because your boss understands what their mission is. And they're going to get it accomplished by any means necessary through you. They're going to get their mission accomplished by any means necessary through you when you take that same type of position for your own life. That by any means necessary, if I got to come in early, if I got to stay up late, if I got to put in overtime, it doesn't matter. By any means necessary, what I want means everything to me. If it means I'm going to be tired sometimes, if it means I'm going to be frustrated sometimes, if it means I'm going to get my feelings hurt, I know what I want. So I'm going to get it. We're just talking about functioning in a funk. Life can be chaotic. It doesn't matter. I got to go. And I got a specific plan and a routine as to how I'm going to get it. I know somebody going to die in the process. I know somebody going to cuss me out in the process. I know I'm going to lose things in the process. But I got a routine. And at some point, in order to reach my goal, I got to be robotic about this thing. Because it's not optional. See, when your goals, your dreams, and your ambitions, the things you want in life is optional, then you operate that way. Let's go to our next point. Functioning in the funk, guys. Life ain't supposed to be easy, right? So the first thing was not having a daily routine. The second thing is, listen, being inconsistent. One of the biggest flaws in people's life, they just not consistent. Nobody don't know what to expect from you. And the crazy part is most people, you don't know what to even expect from yourself. Just not consistent. Today I feel like a nut, tomorrow I don't. You got to be consistent. You don't even want to be with a man that ain't consistent in your life. You ain't got to be perfect. Life doesn't require perfection out of you. It requires consistency. You know what you're going to get from me. Imagine we do these trainings 8 o'clock every single morning. When do you start getting on here every morning and I don't show up? Think about it. 3 days y'all logged in looking for me and I don't appear. No consistency. Tell me how we going to go build a business if you got to wonder if I'm going to be here at 8 a.m. And I'm supposed to train you and get you prepared so that you can position yourself to get out of this what you want. Inconsistency, guys. So that's something big, something that we all got to fix, man. Am I consistent? Can I count on you? Can I count on you? That's what you got to know in life. Can you be counted on? And it ain't really who can count on you. Can you even count on yourself? Sometimes you got to talk to yourself and say, man, I ain't consistent. I don't do what I'm supposed to do when I'm supposed to do it. If you're going to achieve anything in life, business, relationship, it requires consistency, baby. So one of the second ways you can funk it up, is being inconsistent. But that ties into your daily routine. Your daily routine is daily. Just inching my way towards what I want. The third way that you can funk it up is making permanent decisions based on temporary circumstances. Too emotional. Your emotion is going to change, but you're doing things because at this moment you upset, because at this moment you frustrated, because at this moment you mad, because at this moment you disappointed. You doing stuff that's just going to permanently impact your life because you was upset at that moment. How many guys are in jail because he got upset and now he done killed somebody? He can't take it back. He made a decision that permanently affects his life forever on a temporary circumstance. You're mad now. You're not going to be mad forever. Take a chill pill. Step back. Don't ruin your life, your business, your future, your relationship because you mad in the moment.
Come on, coach.
Your emotions is like the weather. It's going to change. It's sunny today. It'll be raining tomorrow. It'll be a snow the next day. That changes. Don't make it. I'm not going to say I'm going to move and live in Florida forever because it snowed in St. Louis today. I got to look at my forecast. I got to look at what I want long term. And does being in St. Louis help me get it? That's how I got to make the decisions. Not being wishy-washy with your life because you're emotional. Severing yourself from relationships that God ordained in your life because you got pissed off at something somebody said at the moment. I don't want to talk to you no more. This person's a part of your destiny. And now because they said one thing, they said 1,000 things to move you forward. Like they said one thing that you couldn't agree with. One thing that you couldn't attest to. One thing that hurt your little feeling. And now you don't want to talk to them no more. Now y'all got to be awkward. Now you want to pull back. Now you don't want to answer no calls. One thing happens, and you making a decision that's going to affect you permanently based on how you feel temporarily. That makes no sense. Unless you just accept the fact that you're on a crash course with your life. No, I got a plan, and I know who's supposed to be a part of the plan in this thing called life with me. Listen, if you're a part of my destiny when we're in good times, you're a part of my destiny in bad times too. Everybody got a role. They here for a reason. We talked about eliminate the ones that are there for a season, but some people are tied to you for a reason, and that is forever. It's destiny. It's something in them that you need to get where you're supposed to go, but you're mad right now. They pissed you off yesterday.
Come on, Coach. Say that, Coach.
You gotta know, man. Listen, there's a Bible says, I know the thoughts that I have for you. Those are good and to bring you to an expected end. Don't derail your course. Life is a fourth of what happens to you. It's 3/4 of how you react to it.
Say that, Coach.
We in the speedboats and we hit some waves, right? But the kids, when we hit some waves, I told everybody, listen, just don't panic. Just don't panic. We can't all go jump over the damn board because the wave hit, the wave gonna come. We can't get panicked. Like, oh, let's jump out and everybody die because we responded the wrong way. Because the wave came, all of a sudden, now we're gonna jump out the damn boat. And that's what killed us. It's the panic. It's the reaction. It wasn't the wave. It's the way we responded to the wave. You got to make sure for your life, baby, that you're not positioning yourself to make a decision that's gonna affect you permanently based on your temporary emotion. You can't let your emotions dictate to you. You have to dictate to your emotions. And when you focus and you know you're going, you got a plan, you got a routine, you get that thing in check. The Bible says, be angry, but don't sin. It's okay to get upset, but don't let the sun go down on your wrath. Don't hold on to that thing. Don't take it until the next day. Be right back for those guys with the mind and the Keisha Edwards. And I promise y'all, they had like 9 arguments. And I'm not exaggerating. They had 9 arguments in 2-hour drive. 9. And I said, I said, y'all crazy. Hey, what do you mean we crazy? I said, y'all will argue. And I mean, they were arguing for like 3 minutes. And then they go back to talking like husband and wife, like they love each other, like we ain't gonna never break up. Because they understand their purpose. I didn't agree with you about this. I don't like how you said that. I don't know how you handled that. But as soon as they got through with that argument, it was like they never argued. I told them, I said, damn, we need to learn from these kids back here. Because we be mad for a whole day sometimes. Go in your corner. I'm going in mine. Emotional. They agreed to disagree and they moved the hell on. Let me say it again. They agreed to disagree and they moved the hell on. You get stuck. Your whole day is ruined. Your whole week is ruined. Your whole month is ruined. Your whole life is ruined because you react the wrong way. We have to get that together. The fourth way you can funk it up is quitting when it gets hard. One thing we got to embrace, man, listen. It ain't supposed to be easy. That's one thing we got to accept. It ain't supposed to be easy. He said, many are the afflictions of the righteous. The Bible says that. Many are the afflictions of the righteous, but God gonna deliver us from all of them. We're gonna have a lot of trials. In this thing called life, you have a lot of tribulations, but he said, count it all joy when trials come. You don't know what to do when the things get tough. You think when it gets tough, ooh, God trying to tell me something, leave him alone. That ain't what God trying to tell you. Things get tough, just leave it alone. No, he said, count it all joy when trials come. He said, because the trial of your faith works patience in you. And the biggest problem that people have is they have a lack of patience. You're not going to do anything great without patience. So let patience have its perfect work in you. You have to sit down and chill the hell out and let patience have its perfect work in you. He said, and then will you be entire? Then will you be complete? Then he said you won't lack or want for nothing once you develop patience. Patience with the process. Patience with the people. Patience while you're waiting on the promise. You got to be patient with people. You have to be patient with the process that you have to go through. And you have to be patient while you're waiting on the promise. This is how you keep functioning in a funk. This is how you don't allow yourself to get too consumed and abort the process. Don't quit. When the going get tough, the tough don't get going. We go after it even harder. That's what you do when times get tough. You don't quit. You don't go. You go after it harder. The biggest thing that helped me in life was understanding that the devil wasn't fighting me this hard for no reason. He fights me so hard because there's greatness on the other side of the battle. But some people never get to the other side because they quit too soon. You got to toughen up. He'll never put more on you than you can bear. He would never put more on you than you can bear. So whatever you're facing in life, if it's there, it's because you can handle it. The race ain't given to the swift, nor to the strong. The race is not given to the swift. It ain't the one that conquered the fastest. And it ain't the one that's the strongest. It's to the one that just keep on keeping on. You have to endure to the end. Don't quit. That's who ultimately wins in life. The person who decided, no matter what, I ain't quitting. The fight is fixed. You got to know that, baby. The fight is fixed. You are more. He said you are more than a conqueror. If the fight is fixed, why the hell would you quit? More than a conqueror.
Good Lord.
I understood that. So quitting wasn't an option. Get back in the ring. 9 rounds, baby, and the fight is fixed. I don't care how many times you get punched in the stomach, knocked on your knee. The fight is fixed. Why would you quit? Get up. You can take some more. You got to make that decision that you can get it up one more time. And it's worth it because you know what it's supposed to look like. It ain't about what it looks like. It's what it's supposed to look like. It's what you came for. It's why you got started. People who quit forget why they started the process in the first place. It ain't too tough based on what I want. Point number 5, we're just talking about
fun. I'm gonna stop the share on that one, for time's sake. But y'all give Mr. Rondell a quick round of applause, a heavenly round of applause. He's building one of the fastest hierarchies in the company at the time of his passing, and he is still sometimes in the top 5 right now in base through first premium. He overrides Darmon Edwards, who's usually between number 1, 2, or 3 in the company in premium every single month. And right now he's number 1. But nevertheless, that's the story for that. I'll put the link for the video in the chat as well, so y'all can get the remaining 3 3 points that he was making and how to function in the funk. And we'll go from there. So way to kick off the training. I'll turn back over to you, Tony.
Good gravy, everybody. Put in the chat with a great. Here's I want you to realize something. First off, Nick is a champion because he could have used the funeral. By the way, Nick, we all said, but we're so sorry for your loss for you and Stephanie. He could have said, no, Tone, can't do it. Is he in training? Yeah. Does he have all the reason in the world that we would never question it? Yeah. Now do you know why he's a near-term RVP? Now do you see the leadership? And you are here are important to us. I saw comments that too bad the people need to hear this the most aren't here. No, I'm going to be honest with you folks. The people need to hear it. We're here. The champions, the winners, were here. Don't focus on the people who aren't here. Bah. Focus on the people who are, because you're the winners, right, Veronica? I see you, right, Nancy Jean, right, Louis? Like, this is how this goes. So, well done, Nick. Thank you so much. And what does that also show you? What you don't have, you don't think you have, it's somewhere in Primerica. You don't have to have all the answers. You just need to know where to find them. And I love Nick. I love you, Stephanie. And just thank you both for just sharing everything that you do with us. And thank you. And just giving you God's prayers. We're going to light a candle for you guys today. And folks, this is going to be a little bit more. So what was that about? It was about mindset. And he was saying funk it up. Just to be clear, it was funk it. I'm from New York. We can say differently. It was funk. Okay. So when you're in the funk of dysfunction, this is what you do. But folks, what's the 4 pillars? Number 1, put in the chat. Number 2, put in the chat. Number 3, put in the chat. Number 4, put in the chat. Put it in the chat. You're being quizzed. Number 1, $100,000 of life insurance to begin. Just starter policy. Thank you so much for giving us. $300,000 Roth IRA. Third pillar is $1,000 of income extra a month. And then the 4th pillar is $250,000 of passive income every year as a regional vice president. And I want to give you guys the skills and the tools to be able to move forward with these pillars, to do what we need to do. And so the next speaker I'm going to have come up is the great, we call him Professor Bob, because he's just has that, when you're dealing with someone who's smarter than you, that would be for me, Professor Bob. And he's going to go over something that I knew about, folks. But it is a tool in our toolbox that our company has given us, and it's called the basic illustration. And so Bob is going to show us how to use it and how to make it and how it helps him in his business. So please help me bring up the great, awesome Regional Vice President Bob Gebhardt. Ba, ba, ba.
Outstanding. I really, really appreciate this all this time. It's I wanted to share some of this simply because let me ask you a question. And I know not everyone here is securities licensed. Are you life licensed? Right? If you're not, you're probably on your way. All right. So this is a tool that you can use just by being life licensed. Okay. This can revolutionize how you help people. We've been talking about the four pillars for us. Okay. If you do this correctly, you're going to hit every one of those four pillars in one presentation. Okay. And it's quite obvious that Ronell wins with the heart. Okay. Obviously he's working on her head, but he wins with the heart. And this is a way that understand that you can use this tool to win with your heart, but you got to prove it with the head. And both of these things go on. Okay. So I think that this one of the tools that really, really helped me when I was getting started. And so I'm just going to jump into this and hopefully I can share this properly. Yeah, that's not working. Okay, let me go here. All right. Let me go back to here. Okay. So if you understand how this is going to work, what I wanted to do was basically show you how to do this, how to get to it. So if you open Turbo Apps, you're going to see right over here, the third from the end is illustration, basic illustration. Now I use some sample, I have simple sample here because obviously I don't want to show a real client, but I did want to show you how you can do this. So in order to do this, I have simple drawn up, and if you look, I'm gonna do a basic illustration for him. So I'm just going to click on basic illustration. And so this is what pops up. So you're going to have two options here, the client and the spouse. And his spouse is named Sarah, simple. So, and we have initially what we do is simple is 28 years old. And I'm doing this as remember we talked about what the $2 day plan, $4 day plan. This is I'm going to do a $2 a day plan. Okay, so obviously I can't do 500,000. That would be too much. But if I look at doing 150,000, I can calculate that. And this obviously it takes a little bit of time just because of the slowness of when I'm doing this behind. So it's $29.92 a month. Is that $1 a day? Yes, it is. So if I go to the next one, I go to and then I just walk on down the line. So this is 150 is going to be 29.95, 92. We're going to see the hypothetical, and this is the critical piece here. So for the hypothetical, I'm going to set this at $60 a month. The initial contribution $60. Okay, that's the $2 a day plan. What you're going to be able to change over here is the rates of return. It defaults to 4, 6, and 8. The most you can have it is 9. Now I realize that it's possible for us to get more than that, but because of regulations and whatnot, 9's the highest that we can do. But 9 is still going to be really incredible in terms of what we can do for the client. They don't have any existing insurance, so I'm going to go to review and print. And when I do print, this is what's going to come up. This is going to be the illustration. I use all of them initially, okay? So I'm just going to show you what that looks like. Initially, what you're going to see is being able to explain exactly what our product looks like. Of course, you're going to be coming up first here. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger, I hope, so you can see it. Um, this is all of the products that person would qualify for. But you'll notice that we've fixed the cash outlay for the entire program at $60. It's important to do that because you're going to see how that plays out. If you don't understand how our life insurance works, this page really helps you understand it so you can explain it to them. One of the things I wanted to point out here was this last line. Primerica Life has been issuing policies with this type of premium structure since 1986 and has never increased premiums beyond the scheduled premium rates and does not expect to do so in the future. Really critical for us to be able to talk to our clients and help them understand who we are, what we do, and what we're doing for people. I'm talking fast because I want to get to some of the fun stuff. The basic illustration is going to look at a number of different things, but what we're going to see is that, and this explains the terminal illness benefit rider. Again, everything that is included in our policy has an explanation here so that you can, even brand new, you can feel confident that what you're presenting, you can talk about with some kind of simplicity, but also that you got it in front of them, so that you can share it with them. I'm going to get to this is the basic illustration. So you'll notice that this is that 5% or the 10% increase every year. So it goes from 150 after 10 years, it's 300,000. And you'll notice the monthly premium goes up as well. But what I wanted to really get to is the cash outlay. And this is why it's so critical for you to use this tool, is because even without a securities license, you can do this. If we look that first year, 150,000, he put away, he invested a little bit of money. And after 20 years, so let's go down to 2044, that's 20 years out, he's going to have just $12,000 in his saving, in his investment, right? But if we continue out, by the time he's 80, he'd have 216,000. So by the time he's 75, he has enough in his investment to basically replace the insurance. Now, again, this is a 9% return, and we know that we can get 10 or 12. Those numbers get crazy. So one of the things that I really am excited to be able to share with someone is how this can help them see actually working this out. Okay. Now, John, I did one for you special because when we talk about the $1,000 a day, $1,000 a month, putting it away, this is just so amazing to me how that worked and how that played out. So let me bring that one up. Hope I can bring that one up. If I didn't lose it here, there we go. And this is $1,000 a month. Okay, this is the basic illustration. Now this was using it like a $6 a day.
Bob, you got to share screen.
Oh, sorry. Thanks. I get too excited. Let's try sharing the screen now. Okay. That should work. Okay. Except that it's not sharing the right one. That $1,000 a day, no. All right. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. That should leave me with that one. Okay. So this is a $500,000 policy because we had enough money to do this. And that premium $70, which is the $6 a day. Okay. If they were putting away $1,000 a month, okay, if we looked out here at age 70, that's $5.2 million at 9%. Okay. I got to tell you, if you started putting this in front of somebody and you showed them what $1,000 a month put away is, this actually, it becomes almost incontrovertible proof that what we're talking about can fundamentally change their life. So if we have this if we can put this in front of anyone, all we need to do is let them see it. You don't have to sell anything, because you're talking about it with your heart, but you're proving it with your head. And between those two things, I think it becomes a laydown in terms of really helping someone see, buy term and invest the difference. It's our crusade. And if you really wanted to go nuts, then you could also show what you could do, the earnings with what you have, so that you hit all four pillars in terms of this process. It's a real simple tool. I would strongly recommend that each one of us do your own. Okay, play with it. It's it's one of those tools that if we don't use it, if we don't know about it, it's like, everything in my toolbox is a hammer. Well, not everything's a nail. Okay, this gives us an opportunity to see a lot of different ways of helping people, and I love this simply because you don't need a securities license to do it. Play with it.
Bravo, Professor Bob, folks. You just got handed one of the most golden tools. I'm taking all kinds of notes. I'm like my thumbs aren't fast enough for you, Bob. So we're going to have to go back and listen to this video to grab everything. But guys, give him some love in the chat. He just shared with us one of the most powerful tools that he uses in his business. And thank you. And I love the fact, Bob, you're right. It doesn't require an investment license. And so much when I first got started, I'm like, well, I got to get my licenses or I can't. Yeah, you can. Just don't talk about specific funds. So well done, Bob. I love it. Thank you for all the claps, folks. But then so he just touched on the two first, really all of them, but actually all three, four, but it's about what? First $100,000 of income, $300,000 in the Roth IRA, $100,000 life insurance, $300,000 Roth IRA, $1,000 extra a month part-time work, and $250,000 passive income every year as a regional vice president. But folks, can we all agree that men and women are different? And FYI, gentlemen, women are not just smaller men. We are different. So there's a different approach and how we see the buy term and invest the difference concept. Like I love Michael Brumfield and Yvonne when they were clients and coach asked them, which part did you like? And Michael's like, I like the investments. At the same time, Yvonne said, I like the insurance. And he's like, what? But I'm not going to die. And so I just brought to focus that there is a different perspective and there's a different way to talk to women and men about the buy term and invest the difference. And so I've asked John Rogers and his team, Room Changers, to step up and kind of explain to us, maybe just with some talking and some interviewing, what is the difference and how can you help these people find these four pillars by using that difference to your favor. So John Rogers and the Room Changers. Woo!
Thank you, Tony. Good morning to y'all. Y'all pray for Macy. We had a Macy Parks is on here, and she was about to. She might not be on here anymore, but she was going to be one of my people that were going to talk. And she texted me, and there's a bat in her living room, and I was like a one you swing. She's like, no, sends me the picture of a bat hanging on her TV, and so her husband's at a funeral, and so you can imagine if your husband usually deals with stuff, and now there's a bat and he's gone. So y'all pray for her. Yeah, I got Jessica Wolverton and Jason that I'll probably have chime in, and then Camille, I may call on you too, just depending on time. But what I want to start with is kind of the buy term invest the difference form of this is a football, Tony, because I know there's 115 other people or so in here, and some of y'all, do me this favor, if you don't really know what buy term invest the difference means, put in the chat, say no. If you don't really know what it means, if like I can't explain it to someone, put in the chat, say no if you don't know what it means. Maybe I should have. Okay, thank you, Trina, for some people might have been like, I don't want to say that out loud. I'm supposed to know what that means here in Prime America. But let's start there. Tony, and just do a quick little Cliff Notes version of teaching. And yes, I may be dating myself by saying Cliff Notes. I've realized that when I asked Rocky, asked my 18-year-old daughter, does she know what Cliff Notes are? She's like, no, Chat GPT. Somebody didn't know what Chat GPT was the other day, and they were a lot younger. They should have known. Like they were in that Gen Z, or Alpha, or Gen Alpha, whatever it is, range. So couple examples of what is by term invested difference. So if y'all are new and you're going through your studies and all that stuff, you're gonna learn about all the different types of life insurance, right? And when Art is talking about by term and invested difference, he's talking about the difference between having a cash value or permanent policy, okay, that typically is going to cost more than a term policy. A term policy is for a specified amount of years. So you're covered for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 25, 30, or 35 for Primerica and a few other companies. It costs less per month for the amount of life insurance that you get. So this is an example of that, okay? This person, they were paying $1,500 a month for a $3 million life insurance policy, okay? It was a permanent policy. So with a term policy, that would only cost them $482. So significantly less per month for the same amount of coverage. So you're buying the term policy, Trina, for 30 years. And because it's a 30-year policy, it only costs $482 a month as opposed to $1,576. So they've bought the term. The difference is the amount you're going to invest. Why? Because at the end of the 30 years, if you have not passed away, the person's like, well, what now? What? Well, you're investing the amount you saved. That's the difference. $1,094 is saved. If you invest that for 30 years in this example, that person would have $3.9 million at age 70 instead of the 56 grand they would have had in their life insurance policy. Okay. Much smaller example real quick. I'm going to have to zoom in on this one. So this person was paying $475 a month for a $650,000, well, $637,000 up here. And we ain't doing all this teaching today, just showing you the difference, by term invested difference. That 30-year term in Primerica was $88 a month for him for 650 grand. So the difference, BTID, is $387 a month. Invested for 30 years is $889,000. So by term invested difference means that your term policy is going to be a lot less per month, Stephanie, and the difference in what you were paying for your permanent policy, you invest that amount so that when you are later in your years, you have money set aside. You have the amount you need. Okay, so we're clear on that, right? Everybody got that? So you get the recording of this, learn that, right? Rep it, play, pause, repeat, play, pause, repeat is what I like to say in learning this stuff, Brandon. So, all right, so let's see if we can hop into find out what's the different perspectives from a man or a woman. Jessica, what I want to ask you first, and hopefully it's not storming over there. She was like, if it doesn't storm and my connection is good, we're good to go. And
We're good right now.
we have we call Jessica on our team. She's a new district and rock star. She probably don't want me to tell y'all this, but we gave her the nickname Woody. I gave her the nickname Woody. And it's only because I called her Jessica Woodard for like a whole appointment one time, and it was not her last name, and I wasn't sure why. But yeah, I'm super proud of her. She's a part of Jason's team, his overall team. But Jessica, what are your thoughts in knowing, as like from a woman's perspective, what I just talked about? So there are agents that out there that can sell a person like you and Russell's her husband, a term policy, because they have the same licenses we have, right? some of them, and set up an investment. What are your thoughts knowing that there are agents out there that don't use the buy term and invest the difference method?
Well, you're doing your clients a disservice. You're not getting them the full potential that they could get. If my first husband passed away, if we had known about this back then, I wouldn't have had to worry about how we were going to bury him. Wouldn't have had to worry about who was going to watch the kids while I worked so I could finish paying the house payment and take care of the bills and all that kind of stuff. It would have made a whole difference in everything. The kids wouldn't have had to see me worry about everything, and it would have been a complete different situation.
The other day we were talking about if Ashley, if my wife passed away, what life would be like as a single dad with, at any given time, I guess 5 kids in the house and toddlers and all that stuff. And from a man's perspective, I'm gonna kind of bounce this between me, Jessica, Jason, and then Camille. I'll probably call on you too. But from a man's perspective, who was it? I think my son, somebody was like, I've only seen you cry one time or whatever. And from a man's perspective, we like to show, hold, what is the word I'm looking for? Wear our toughness on our sleeves, right? Jessica, from a woman's perspective, how hard is it to hide lack of security?
Very hard. I don't know that I did it very well.
So back then, if buy term invest the difference had have been applied in the case of, so let's do a little bit of a switch. Let's say for the amount of money y'all had in life and y'all were paying for life insurance, if that could have been $500,000 as opposed to whatever it was, what would that have looked like for you? Having that more, what would that have looked like for you being able to operate in the security of, okay, at least we can pay for these things? I know I've lost my husband in it, but at least I don't know, my kids don't have to see me worry
I wouldn't
about.
have had that worry. Yeah, I wouldn't have had that worry. I would have been secure in knowing that stuff would be taken care of. And I would have the time to grieve and make sure my kids were okay and, deal with their grieving.
Right.
So, yeah, it would have been completely different.
Camille, I sat down, some of y'all older, well, not older in age, but like Matt, they've been in the business a little bit. Y'all put in the chat yes or no? Just put yes. Do y'all still do agent confrontations? Does that happen still? I haven't done one in a long time, and and so an agent confrontation, I think they started to hide because they're starting to realize Americans, they're gonna get that butt whooped as long as there's a policy, and they're gonna lose that fight. But I remember one in particular, Camille, and this particular family, they had an 11-month-old baby that had an IUL on the baby. And we're sitting down at the table, and I was coached on, let me speed up this process. Essentially, they had purchased a policy for when the baby turns 18, and the baby would have, X amount of money. And basically, as we went through it, Camille, it's the husband, it's the wife, it's the baby crawling around on the table at 11 months old, and then there's the agent, and then there's me, and then Bert's wife, because I wasn't securities licensed at the time. She came with me. And essentially, what ended up happening is that lady that had been in the business, Carolyn, for 30 plus years, that sold them that policy, was like, see, if she got upset, she cussed me out, Veronica, right? It was very interesting, right? I wish I could find a recording. But what ended up happening was she was like, see, if America operated the way that y'all do right now in Prime America, a lot of these, America wouldn't have the wealth that it has. And I think what she was trying to say, Camille, was like, because people wouldn't be investing money. But what she told herself was yeah, through life insurance, because they get to make so much money off these premiums and stuff, and these clients, America wouldn't be in the state. And that pissed me off, Camille, because I was like, see, that's exactly why we exist. Because these families wouldn't know that. So imagine, Camille, from a woman's perspective, if you were sitting down at that table and you heard all of that, you realized that this lady could have sold you and your spouse, or even just you, a policy that would have been less money per month and provided what you needed at retirement, or provided what your kids would have been able to have for college or whatever that is. Kind of walk me through, if you were sitting at that table learning this step by step, what would your emotions be as a woman, Camille?
We are more emotional because we need to be in lots of situations. As a mother, my emotions would be all over the place. First, I would be given so much side eye, and I would be so frustrated and just thinking, is this really happening? Am I in an alternate universe? Why would you not want the absolute best for me if you're here to give me something to help me and my family? Why wouldn't you give me the best? Because we don't do this just for ourselves, like so many of the snakes that are out there doing what they say is helping through the everything opposite of Primerica. And you're supposed to help me, but really and truly, you're not looking out for me. So if you're not there for a purpose of helping me, you're sitting there looking me in the face, telling me that this is good for me, knowing with all reality that it's not. Where is that helping me? How is that benefiting me? You are actually hurting me, because there is nothing in that policy that is going to benefit me or my family in the future. So I would be angry to know that, one, you're not being truthful. Two, you're not there for me. You're not supporting me. And especially if you're a woman and you have a family, I would think, how would you not even put yourself in my place? When we go out on our crusade, that's another part of it, at least for me. I'm putting myself in your place. That's why we tell our story, because I want us to relate, to see that I'm telling you this because I want the best for you, and to know that you're not there for me, trying to help me. You're hurting me. I would be angry. I would be disillusioned. And I would want you out of my house, of course, but there's nothing in that to show that there is help for me. And that's why we do what we do, because we want people to prosper. As the Bible says, God wants us to prosper. And number two, yes, if I'm helping you, I'm helping me. But the whole point is we're helping each other. And if we're not on one accord, then you are not there for me. And there's nothing good in it. You're hurting me. It's disillusioning, it's dishonest, and that is not what I need in my life. So I will be angry.
Whenever I got involved in this business, I had a State Farm policy, and it was a whole life policy, and I didn't know, Matt. I remember the guy, like, he did the like Art Williams method, kind of like got a piece of paper and a little pen in there. I remember it was a red pen, and he was drawing it and showing me how, you have this amount of savings and this amount later on, and this is how much it'll cost, and it'll only be an extra on top of your bundle with your auto and home. And I was like, cool, sign me up. Awesome. And I remember getting in the business and learning about buy term, invest the difference, Rocky. And I was like, I felt as a man, this is gonna be funny. I'm 5'9". Matt, we about close to the same height, right, Matt? I think we're about close to the same, Matt. I remember going into 7-Eleven. This is my A brain right here. So y'all S's and T's, I'm probably like driving y'all nuts right now. But I remember going into like a 7-Eleven one time, Matt, and there was a guy holding the door, and he was about like Nick's height, right? And he held the door in a way for me to walk under his arm for me to go in there, and I refused to do it. Because I felt like I was like, he's trying to little man me right now. Like, I felt really small, right? Because I was like, you imagine like as a grown man, them holding the door, you know how you do for your kid and you walk on it like little pat on the butt. I felt like that's how I felt about when I learned about buy term invest the difference. I felt like that agent gave me a little, here you go, bud. You don't know what you're doing. I know you don't know what you're doing. And so I'm gonna go ahead and sell you this policy, Lewis, and make this commission offer you, and you will never know what you could have had. Because he could have sold me a term. He could have set up an IRA for me, right? Back then, I think they were doing that. And 6-7, right? That's Lord Jesus. Yeah, I got kids. I know that's I saw everybody with kids do this right here. So, Jason, when you got involved in this business, especially knowing what you know now as a joint custody of your kids and having all boys, and what was the feeling as a man, from a man's perspective, starting to learn about, okay, there was an option that I could have gotten by term invested difference, or that people that I know are getting screwed over without having to buy term invested difference. Kind of go through the man's perspective of how you felt.
I just sitting here and just listening to it over and over, even after almost 2 years, a little short, but just, we hear the same thing over and over and over, but what little things pop out differently. So it's like, I didn't come into this business with a passion for life insurance. I came into this business to make some money like everybody else. I had life insurance, but I never really felt like it was a huge priority, something that I was just passionate about. Now, when I talk to people, I tell them, I said, I developed a passion for what we do because we see what happens when people don't have it. We see what happens when people aren't prepared, they're not properly covered. And what how many people outside of Primerica know what we know, how important it is to have life insurance and have that investment set up so that down the road we are financially set without having to buy the high premiums in life insurance. I talked to a lady, interviewed her on Thursday. She lost her 2-year-old daughter. I don't know how long ago, but it just reminds me of when I do a life insurance policy. It's pretty much non-negotiable to add those kids, because number one is they're covered because anything can happen, and number two is they are eligible for coverage when they get to be 25. So, different things that we learn and whatnot. And so I have learned a tremendous amount just by getting into this business. And our crusade, is to help as many people as we can to understand what we do so that it can continue to spread like wildfire.
I'm glad you said, so you said some things there. You said we hop on these trainings, we hear this stuff. Y'all that have been around a little bit, you've heard, okay, over and over and over, buy term invested different, buy term invested difference. We learn these little things, right, Cynthia, on our trainings, but there's millions of people out there, y'all, that have never heard what you've heard over and over and over and over and over, right? And they won't imagine. Jessica, you talked about if you had have known this years ago, right? If we don't go talk to people, there are more Jessica Wolvertons, there's more John Rogerses and people that are out there that are going to go 20, 30 years and never find out what they could have found out, Dalton, 20, 30 years ago, right? So when you realize what we do, that education piece, that yields phenomenal amounts of dividends for people later on down the line. As we close this up, there's I got a text the other day from a client, and the guy's name is Cody. He just lost his wife 2 months ago, and It's the reverse. It's an interesting male perspective, actually, Tony, because it's the reverse. She handled all the finances, and I went out there. I did the old school method. I drove out to Boyd, Texas. It's about an hour and a half drive. He's not at all in a income struggle, but from a male perspective, I can see what he's not doing, Jessica. He's not really hiding the lack of security very well. He's got 4 kids. One of them 19, 16, and then 2 twin 4-year-olds. And one of the 4-year-olds was with the wife in the accident. The 4-year-old's still alive, but had to have to go through physical therapy. We talked about all that stuff. But seeing him, he has no clue. They make about 50. He makes 15 grand a month. Nothing saved. Not in the IR. Doesn't have 401. Nothing. Like not a dime saved. So just being able to go out there and educate about buy term, invest the difference for him is amazing. The other thing I want to end with is I will never, ever forget this appointment, agent confrontation. I think we got 3 minutes with the New York Life agent. And this particular person, she was 20 years old. She was paying $250 a month for 2 policies, right? 2 life insurance policies. One of them was a IUL. And for what she would have in that IUL best case scenario, and if y'all learning these, there's like it has little scenarios in them. It's like scenario 1, scenario 2, scenario 3. And scenario 3 typically, Carolyn, is like, this is what we expect. It's not guaranteed, but it's what we expect. So her best case scenario with that $250 a month going into life insurance is she would have $800,000 at age 60, 40 years later. Errol. So I was like, her 30-year term with us would be $60 a month, not $250 for the same $500,000 policy, and invest in that difference of $150 or 100, whatever that is a month, $190 a month is $1.9 million at age 60. So the question is, even if she did need the life insurance, she got it, Johnny, for $60 a month. What would she rather have, 1.9 million or 800,000? And he went on, Sarita, to be like, well, she's paying for the insurance. And I was like, that's $1.1 million difference. So she's paying $1.1 million for 500,000 of life insurance, Matt? Make that make sense to me. It doesn't make sense. And he went on to say, well, I know how y'all do in Primerica. I know y'all are all about recruiting and all these things. And I said, exactly right. Do y'all not do that in New York Life? He said, yeah, but I only get to have you for 1 year. I only get to make money off of you for 1 year. I said, what happens after that year, Jason? And he said, well, all that money goes to New York Life. I said, hold on, wait. So you poured in blood, sweat, tears with me for a year, and you only make money off of me for 1 year? Would you rather do that for the rest of your life or 1 year? Well, the rest of my life. So why are you bashing us that are spreading the gospel of what needs to be done financially? And you would do the same thing if you could. So what I want y'all to think about, man or woman perspective, if you know that there's people out there that are going to go through the same thing and are going through it right now, 1 Peter 5:8-9, you're a fellow Christian going through the same sufferings that you are. How can you not recruit to this? If you were someone had told you 20 years ago, why don't you save someone 20 years of their life and recruit to this, man or woman? Because there's men and women that are going through the same things. Learn by term, invest the difference so you can talk about it, become competent so you can be confident, and go and spread the financial gospel of what we do, Gael, so that we can save the women and children and also the men that are going to be widows and widowers. That's what we got, Tony. I think we're done.
Dang, folks. Put in the chat. Thank you, Camille. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you, John, for just pouring in. And there's a difference, folks, but you got to respond to both. But here's what I heard loud and clear. No matter what, we do the right thing. We do the right thing as a company, even if it's not good business. We do the right thing. We have paid death claims. I've seen it myself that we should have never paid as a company. Had 100% legal right not to be paid. But we did it because it was the right thing to do for the family. And so I love that. Thank you so much. Because just know this. This was important to me, Stephanie. This was really important to me, Saritza. It's just in my heart, Juanita. I need to know that if I was going to represent this company and I was going to give people that I know and care about solutions, that this company would deliver. Rest assured that we do. Thank you so much for Team Room Changers. Thank you, Camille, also. But folks, 4 pillars. I'm gonna bounce you around. $100,000 of insurance term, $300,000 in a Roth IRA, $1,000 extra a month, and $250,000 income passively as an RVP for the rest of your life, your children's life, your children's children's life. And I just remember, Matt Rusbicki, I remember having this. They said that at one point, Christopher Columbus, say what you will, he thought, all of his men thought they're going to be sailing off the edge of the earth. He thought it was round. He was committed to doing it. And I'll never forget, they're in the middle of the ocean, they're running out of supplies. He almost had mutiny. And his people were like, we can't see land. And Christopher Columbus says, look into my eye and you will see land. Look into my eye and you will see where we're headed. And there's a power in it, isn't there, folks? There's a power of belief. There's a power of when you see it, you can seize it. So I've asked Matt Rusbicki to come and talk to us because he's on the other side, over $300,000 a year income. Him and Charlene are on their way to $1 million, $3 million, $5 million, $10 million income a year. That's where they're headed. But Matt Rusbicki, I wanted you to kind of tell us, what is it like, and how did you get there? How did you go? Because I first met you, you were making about 110, I think, 100,000 a year, and look at you, you're like, boom. So I've asked you to share with us, and folks, take notes. This is a recipe. You follow the recipe, you get a great cake, but if you miss the salt, it will stink. So please, Matt Rusbicki, show us the recipe. Tell us what it's like. Let's look in your eye and see where we're headed. Matt Rusbicki.
Well, I appreciate the kind words. Thank you so much. Hey, great job, teammates. I mean, unbelievable. I think one of the biggest ways that you can, grow your income, get some momentum going into the best year of your life is you show up. You make a decision to show up. You never miss a meeting, right? You're always there. And, it's funny how many new people we train. They want to build a team. They want to go RVP, even if you want to make an extra 1,500 a month. You're not going to start in the game if you miss practice. So you need to rearrange your schedule. You need to talk to your spouse. If you're serious, this thing, right? Committed people, right? Committed people are convincing, right? Convinced people convince people. And you need, more than just some field activity. You need more than your license. You need 20, 30, 40, 100 hours of getting into training to learn a language, right? If you had to come here and if I've got some bilingual leaders on my team, right? El Presidente, okay, for our Spanish opportunity meeting, right, Johanny? And if I wanted to learn Spanish, I could pop out Rosetta Stone once a week. But it'd be a lot better if I got dropped in DR or PR or Spain or any Spanish speaking country for a month. I'd have to adapt. I'd have to learn the language. What people don't understand here is entrepreneurship, doing your own thing. It's a language, right? Even John talked about, there are people in our industry with the same licenses with a similar structure. Oh, I know what y'all do. We do the same thing. No, you don't. No, you don't. Because when we sit with a new person, if we do a good job articulating, our job is to help you build an agency, right? Multiple agencies, if you're driven enough and this becomes your life work, compared to being a salesperson. You can say whatever you're a financial educator, investment advisor, you're in sales, okay? But at least we sell hope, opportunity, and a dream for a better future as opposed to just a rider on a product, okay? And we do all that stuff too. Bob did an incredible job about talking about some of the things we do and what we do for families. But the big picture here, the reason you're here on a Saturday morning is not so you can come work for Tony Alexander, not so you can come work for Jessica Wolverton, not so you can come work for me. And so you can build something for you and your family. And so let's talk about that because the fourth pillar is making $250,000 a year. I had a mentor who told me life starts at, 20 grand a month. He said it really gets good at 30 grand a month. And I think the first thing that you want to think about is what life would be like with it. The first thing I had is why. Why do you want that? Why is it? And I think a lot of people are brothers and sisters of mine in Christ on this line. And if you're not, that's okay. God's gonna get you, by the way. Just kidding. But the whole point is like, sometimes we have a hang up about making money, or like even when you're a kid and you watch the cartoons, it's always the evil guy and he's like, how much money do you need to be happy? He's like, more, right? And you have this association that money can separate you from, being a good person, a good values, or maybe in your faith. And the first thing is you got to learn to squash that. You only have to get around Primerica long enough to realize, wow, the most wealthy people are usually, at least in our company, are usually the most generous, the most giving, the most thoughtful. I've met so many wealthy people that are good people that I was able to shake that right away. And it was an instant thing. And really, I needed to see one. I needed to say, because I'd rather be a good person, be happy, than, jeopardize my values and my morals just to have a bigger paycheck. But all it took was one wealthy person in this company, like a Bill Orender, like a Ron L. Burns, like people you heard, and I said, "Wow, you're a good person. Like I like them. They're a good person. They're caring. They're thoughtful. They're generous, right? They love their family. They put their kids first. Like all that stuff." And I was like, "Oh, and they make 70 grand a month. That's all I needed to see. All you need is one. So you got to get over that right away." Because a lot of people, that's the hang up. The easy way to put it is money makes a good person better and a bad person worse, right? So if you came into this line and you're a giver, you're generous with your time, your money, your thoughts, you encourage people, you're there for people. Man, imagine what you could do if you tripled your income in the next 18 to 24 months. Now, by the way, that also means if you're a jerk, you're selfish, you're ego driven, and you're not doing that well financially, you're gonna be a really big jerk when you make money. But that's okay. You can work on that, right? I know I sure had to. And so the whole point is, the first thing that we want, the reason we do it is how about control, right? I think the ultimate control, the ultimate peace, for me comes with my spiritual relationship, my relationship with Christ. But I'm gonna tell you, I've been a believer when I'm broke. I've been a believer when I've got money. It's a lot easier to have some peace when you got some money, okay? It's a lot easier when you're not worrying about checking your bank account every minute. Oh my God, if we pay that, when does that come out? Right? Imagine just not even have to deal with the personal accounting of your household, right? Where you just know that there's more, there's plentiful, there's things coming in, right? I think it's a tool to inspire other people. The reason you want to make $250,000, if you really want to make an impact, I always talk about this example, but I'm very involved in Band of Brothers. If you're a guy, you don't know what that is, please message me. We'd love to get you there. We'll help you get there. It's just a life-changing thing for me. And I know that when I used to invite people before, some people would come and I'd be persistent, but because of some of the success that we've been blessed to have, a lot of times I'll bring 15, 20 guys with a flick of a wrist. Why? Because they're thinking, I don't know what this is about, but Matt's making 30 grand a month. He said to come check it out. I'm going. And that's how I got there initially. So some of us, if we want to make a bigger impact in our church, in our communities, in our family, success has a part to do with that, right? And so if you want to be able to have more of a pedestal, again, it doesn't validate who you are, but it can be a huge resource for getting a message, a mission, whatever is important to you across. Being successful especially in America, is a part of it, right or wrong. I mean, we buy things from celebrities who don't know a damn thing about what they're talking about, but you like that celebrity or they're successful, and you go, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna get that body wash because whatever Cardi B likes or whoever. I don't know, whatever." But you get my point. And so the whole point is, if people have a platform, they can promote, they can market things. You could do that in your community to the causes you care about. What about memories? I think it's so important. I've been to 17 Major League Baseball stadiums with my father. I don't know how long I have my dad. He's 71. He's in good shape, thank God. Same with my mother, different things like that. And just to be able to have memories and bring people places. And, Bill's been on me, so we booked a Disney cruise. I'm paying for my parents. I pay for my mother-in-law. Doing things like that, I know the smile they're going to get from watching their grandkids smile and how happy they are and how excited. That'll be a lifelong memory. Primerica, right? It's done so many trips for Charlene and I. I think we've been on 9 or 10 company trips, and just being able to do things at the drop of a dime, and not even do that, but you kind of have to go, right? So there's a lot of vacations like, well, I can pay for that vacation with my job, but you've been putting it off for 2.5 years because you don't have to go. And so being forced to see the world and have different experiences and mean things to people, like even financially, we do things like, I'm my side, I'm my mother-in-law's side money for retirement, right? I fund half of her, Charlene and I fund half of her retirement, but that's a choice I get to make, something I want to do and something we've been blessed to do. And you've got people in your life that you care about, and it's good to be there. It's good to, bring over food be hospital and all that, but there's so many people in your life who could use a check. Or even if they don't need the check, they could use the memory. They could use an experience. They could do something. My mom picked me up. I'm helping her do her trust, all this stuff. And I'm using the Primerica Legal Program. Okay, Platinum Group, whatever, my first one. Be proud of me. I made a sale. And I was talking to her and she said, your dad was talking about going to Arizona this weekend to go see the Packers game. And I'm like, Mom, you're playing this and that. And she's kind of looking at me. She's like, no, he's serious. And I hit my dad back and I'm like, I just looked up the flights for Arizona. Let's go. It's on me. And he's like, no, I was kidding, this and that. But just to be able to do that, that's a $2,000 48 hours. And again, to like what son can do that with a father doing? So again, my whole point is you've got things you want to do, things you want to accomplish. You really have to first sit down and understand why you want something. If you don't know why, you won't do it. Okay. And you have to get out of the day that, well, I want to pay some bills. Because if you ask most people on a recruiting, hey, if you could make an extra 1,500, if you could double your, what would you do? What do they say? Pay down some debt, save a little more money. Okay, yeah, we know that, but that's not exciting. That's what you want to do. That's it. You're going to flip over and say, I paid all my bills on time. We got to do that. That's obvious. But what do you really want to do? If money wasn't an object, if your time freedom wasn't an object, if you could bless as many people as you want, right? And so we got to start being able to dream. Most people, Jim Rohn talks about, they're hard workers, but they're not hard thinkers. They don't go home and think, right? They go home, check out, watch TV. How was your day? Your day was good. All right, get up. Hi ho, off to work I go the next day. What do you want out of your life? Brian Tracy has a challenge. He says, for the next 30 days, write down 10 things, 10 goals that you want to come to happen in the new year. You don't need to know how you're going to get them. Write them down. What do you want? Start thinking about your life. That's the whole point of this meeting. That's the whole point of getting on Primerica trips, because you think I'm doing all right. I make $150. Okay, what if you made $150 a month? That's what Primerica does. That's why you're on here. Right? Because you got more in you, right? You're worth more. You got way more things that you can achieve. And some of you are like, more in me? I'm already CEO. I got, well, bully for you. Success isn't what you do compared to your brother, your sister, your college roommates. Success is the potential that God put in you. And are you maximizing those things so you can be a blessing to others? And the reality is 99% of us, we got more left in us, right or wrong. And so that's why you get around people who think different and make more money. It's not because of the money they make or, oh, I can have a Rolls Royce. No one gives a about that. What they care about is the example you set, what you can do, and how you can free people from this box, this 12 inches in front of your face. Like, I do this tomorrow. I got bills to pay. Oh, my kids, I didn't get any sleep. Man, you got to start dreaming, okay? Now, I know a lot more of you are practical. So then the step is, how do we get there, right? Some of you are like, man, all right, I've had this guy. I know what I want. Okay, great. Let's talk about how you do it, right? Number one, you decide you want it. We talked all about that. Number two, you got to get excited. You got to get excited. You're like, I came here Saturday morning to hear Get Excited. Yeah, and you missed it. Because Art Williams, who's worth billions of dollars, the founder of the biggest financial services firm in the history of financial services, said 90% of winning is being excited. Oh, well, I'll be excited when I start getting some checks. Wrong. That's not how it works. Oh, I'm going to go to the gym when I get in shape. That's what you just said. I'm going to show up when I start making money. I'm going to get committed once I get married. Think of how stupid that sounds when people say it. But people say, I don't need to get excited. Just give me the meat and potatoes. Wrong. That's not how people move. People move in that order: recognition, excitement, and then money. So you got to get excited when the seats are empty. You got to get excited when the bank account's low, when the chargebacks are coming. That's when you say, man, I'm going to turn it up like never before. Thank God you have so much faith in me. Man, I love adversity. I'm pumped up. I'm fired up. I got 3 appointments on the books next week, which means I ain't going to run one damn one, but I can set 10 appointments today. I can go out and find a new district leader today. I can go get my name on the scoreboard. You got to get excited, and you got to learn to personally have a little meeting with yourself every day. One of the things I learned about it, and Ryan Burns did such a good job, he talked about most people, their routine: brush my teeth, comb my hair, take a shower, throw a Pop-Tart in my mouth with one pants on my leg, and get out the damn house. You have to grow up and get mature enough to realize this is an inner game. So if you can't get excited, I promise you, 99 out of 100 times I'm sitting with my son, I'm like so grateful that he's there and that I'm a dad and I get to be on the floor and playing and that I get to listen to him have a temper tantrum. I get to go into bed at night and I've got to rock him to sleep because he sucks at sleeping. I promise you, I rarely ever am like, this kid. Why? Because I work on myself and I have a different perspective that I know so many people who prayed to have kids for 10 years and it took forever to happen, or people who've lost a child, or people who are dealing with a kid in the hospital. So I'm mature enough emotionally because I work on myself not to take that for granted. And the problem is, I'm using my son as an example, but some of y'all do that in Primerica. And the attitude is like, oh, I got to make another phone call. Oh, I got to show up to Saturday training. You get to, dude. You get to. If you don't, the door's right there. We're good. Primerica's going to keep moving. And Primerica will keep moving if I left. I'm nothing. That's the other thing. We're not that big of a deal, right? So you got your mission. You should be thankful, grateful, and excited before everything comes in. And you've got to get mature enough to realize, hey, maybe if I pray every morning and if prayer's not a part of your life, maybe I'm reading 10 pages of a self-improvement book. Maybe I get in the mirror and say affirmations, say my name 5 times. Ooh, I'm Will Jones. I'm Will Jones. I'm Will Jones. I can say it every time. You're just walking out the house like Shaft, right? You got to start learning how to get yourself going. Because if you're waiting on someone else, they might not show up. And that's a big problem for you and your family, okay? Now, look, you got to get a routine, like we talked about, get a routine of growth and activity, growth and activity. If I boil down to Primerica, that one thing that we do every day, it's I'm working on my mindset, whatever that means for you, come up with a plan with your coach, and then I go apply and get to work. I'm constantly calling people, texting people, doing one-on-ones. 90% of your time should be on the front end of this business. You're either setting an appointment, talking to someone about the business, or doing a one-on-one presentation or a kitchen table. That's it. The rest is background, window noise. Do you have to check on your policy? Yeah, you got to call home office in the afternoon. Yeah, whatever. But other than that, it's like, how many appointments do you have on the books? I got 17 for next week. I'm gonna try and get 25. I'm gonna try. I have a slow Saturday. I got numbers to call. I'm gonna try and make something happen, right? And so you got to make sure you got appointments locked, loaded, growth and activity. Find someone who has what you want and do what they did. This befuddles me more than anything in Primerica. I'm kind of a simple dude, and I do think, one of the gifts that God gave me is I can meet people and kind of and read it fast. What are they good at? What are their strengths? Where are the weaknesses? Where are their insecurities? That's something I always had. So when you find one leader who has what you want, when I was a kid, I came in here, Cindy Kicklighter was making 25, 30 grand a month. She was excited and she was a good person. That's all I needed to see. That was it. And I listened to what she said. Now, was I perfectly coachable? Of course not. But I get people who are a month in who don't listen to me. I don't freaking get it. I don't get it. I'm like, God, the audacity that some people have to think, well, I'm going to do it this way. You have no sales, no recruits, no experience, and a weak license. Why don't you try doing the system we've done for 48 years? Why don't you listen to us? Do you know that when you're upline, when you make money, we make more money? It's crazy to me, but I've got to get over that. I've got to reject rejection, right? Even in my own base shop, right? And eventually it'll be with my own RVPs. I know they're not going to listen to me. They're going to be grown kids out the house. No, I'm going to do it this way. Fine. I did that too. Okay. And so the whole point is like, you've got to find someone who has what you want and do what they did, has what they want. And that means when you're like, I'm coachable, I want a mentor, and they give you advice, you go do it. Right? I talked to Bill about getting numbers at the interview, and that was something I did a long time ago. We matched that, but I was all in the wrong market. So I had all these bodies and no one's making money. I'm like, this sucks. This doesn't work. Okay. Right. But then we just redid it. And he texted me and said, I've been telling people for 40 years to get names and numbers of the interview, blah, blah, blah. So I did it and then immediately told everyone, this is what we're doing. This is the play. And I've watched people grow in it and get success and leverage IBAs. And we're really excited about that. But I'm still learning, and we still got to be reminded. Like, I still defer to Bill. I still defer to some of the, if Mr. Joyce gave me advice online, I'd be like, that's a Hall of Famer. That's a G. Like, I listen, right? You respect people who've done what they've done. You might give feedback or ask questions, but you got to follow a better blueprint, okay? You got to learn to become a full service builder, right? Recruiting takes precedence, talking to people about the opportunity. But then when we get to the table, we're helping them with everything, like Professor Bob was talking about, right? Help them with insurance, help them with investments. Don't leave money on the table, right? Work all the time you work, play all the time you play. I got to admit, this might not be cool. I got a problem with plurking. I think it's the dumbest damn thing I've ever heard of. Hey, work your ass off when you're supposed to work. That means if you're full time, you better be on that phone for 2, 3 hours a day. You better be burning up. You better be sitting with 4 or 5 people. But then when it's Saturday at the park, you're not doing a damn Zoom because then you're not doing a good job of being a dad, right? You're a half parent and a half Primerican, one or the other. If you're on a cruise, I don't want to see you. Go enjoy your family. I don't like plurking. I don't like the half in, half out. What does that do? No, when you're on the ball, you're on the ball. So Saturday night or Sunday or whatever you take off, your risk reward, you get to be totally present and you get to enjoy it instead of feeling guilty while you're at your kid's game. You're totally not paying attention. Just like I didn't do what I needed to do for 3 out of 4 days because I went to the gym in the middle of the day and I went to get lunch with my girlfriend, who's a waste of time because she's not going to give me referrals. She doesn't want to join the business and she's got a busted mindset, but I feel some sort of obligation. All right, that's psychological. But do you get what I'm saying? Work when you work, play when you play. Plurkin dead. Yeah, I said it. Okay. You got a problem, call home office. Hey, mindset, how does this apply to me? Everything we talk about, everything we go through, when I'm talking right now, you just processed what I said and said, yeah, my wife needed to hear that. Thank God she's on. Wrong. Wrong. I promise you, 15 years in with some mild success here, every time when I listened to that Ronell Burns audio, I was like, damn, I got to get better. I got to work on this. Yeah, I could tighten this up. I wasn't like, oh, thank God Renee's on here. Woo, Stephanie really needed that message. Of course, I'm evaluating my team, but no matter what level you're at, you always got to be thinking, I can get better. I can grow. How does this message apply to me? Right. And then the only last thing I was going to say is, 250,000, the fourth pillar, doesn't validate you. It's a slippery slope. What do they say? Compete, don't compare. Let me tell you something. You could make $1 million. If you don't know your baseline for who you are and who created you and what your real validation is, there will always be a bigger, badder man on the block. Okay? And you'll never feel quite adequate. You'll constantly be comparing other people. Is it good to have goals and dreams? 1,000%. We know where they came from. But the whole point is, it's disrespectful to your family, to your creator, to whatever your higher power is, if you do not max out what you have been given. Your God-given people skills, your work ethic, the dreams you have late at night, you got to go get after this thing. That is the biggest way that we honor the people we love, is we work our ass off to be able to show them not just the memories and the cars and all that. It's so much more important that your kids see a different type of person, or your parents. Think of how proud your parents are going to be when you go RVP, or your kids are going to be when you get the ring, or when people recognize you, because they say, you know what? Hard work pays off. Paying the extra price pays off. The example we set, the person we've become, is the greatest compliment to the gifts we've been given and to the people who love us. So apply that stuff. And if I was too tough and you didn't like me, my name is Juan Ramos, and you're more than welcome to file a legal complaint with Home Office. Thank you.
Thank you, Juan. Thank you, Matt Worsbicky. Folks, that was a drop the mic moment. Put in the chat how much you love him and what he gave to you. But more importantly, do something different because of what he talked about. Matt Worsbicky, you absolutely delivered. Thank you so much for sharing. And folks, we're going to wrap up. We're going to, I love John. I'm going to land this plane. We're going to be landing the plane now. And I want you to know that I've asked, no offense, Mr. Worsbicky, but I believe she beat you last month in income. It is the great P34D Dominators team captains. Cynthia Greer and Roy Greer are on it, and I have asked them, because folks, you've heard what we do, you've heard about the pillars, you've heard how to use a basic illustration, how's the difference you've learned all these great things, folks, but let me tell you, you've heard it, every single person said this, but now she's going to break it down for you. You need to commit. You need to decide that this is for you. You need to commit and decide that you're going to put your heart behind the 4 pillars. You need to commit and decide that you're going to be the person making over $250,000 a year, that you're going to become that person that Matt Worsbicky talked about, that you're proud of, that you're going to be that deliverer and that rescuer. And there's no other person I know than the great soon to be national sales director, senior national sales director, the Orender Cocoa Queen, the great Cynthia Greer.
200, 200.
Woo, 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 woo. Man, I know the people that should be on here is on here, the champions, but I do feel sorry for those that are not. I really, really do. Because I'm telling you, they'll say, I heard somebody say that they don't get trained and they don't know what to do and they don't know how to do it and they're not on training. So no wonder they don't know what to do and they don't know how to do it because there's no excuse for us. We get every single tool we need to be successful. Man, y'all know I ain't never used that basic illustration before. I use Ebony. I never used that, but dad gummit, I'm about to use that. Right? It's like mind blown what you learn when you just show up. But I'm gonna let my husband talk about something that he did yesterday, and I told him he got 3 minutes. So I'm blocking him at 3 minutes. So, but I think y'all need to hear this. Go ahead, babe.
See, it's not fair, huh? Us men always get stuck. And also, y'all, yeah, we might beat Matt last month. But see, this business, guess what? Somebody else can beat us this month. It's all about what your team, it's not Matt, it's his team. If we beat him because his team didn't do what they were supposed to do.
What you supposed to be talking about?
I know, but I want to clarify that too. Because everybody need to understand, you can't win here without a team. One-on-one is not going to do it. All right. Now, the reason why she did this, we talked about IULs. And what caught my mind was we had a lady in Primerica, been here for years, was making $400,000, quit Primerica with 3 RVPs. She was an SVP. She quit Primerica to go sell IULs, y'all. So I looked up Chat GPT. We talked about that earlier. That's y'all better get on that. I just now found out about it, to be honest with you. So I asked Chat GPT. Well, I'm Primerica, right? I believe in term life until I die. So I'm like, what prompted this woman to leave Primerica to go sell something we know is too expensive for people? So I just went to Chat GPT because that's going to be right? So I asked, IULs, why bad for people? That's what I asked. Why is it bad for people? Well, Chat GPT, GP came back to me and says, Roy, inheritance is not bad for everybody. Okay, because you can do this. See, I'm not going to hide nothing from you because you can go to Chat GPT and it'll tell you everything about it. Okay, so, but it says this, but there are reasons people sometimes struggle with it because of high fees and high cost. Do term has high fees and high cost? No. IULs often have multiple layers of fees, often surrender charges if you cancel early. So that means if you give your IUL, you got to pay them a lot of money. So they lock you in. So you can't, once Primerica rep come around and tell you how bad it is, you can't get out of it because you're stuck there. Because the fees is usually 90% of what you give. If you give them $100,000, 90% of 100,000 is you don't want that. So it's complex structure. Performance uncertainty, because it's tied with the index. Long-term commitment, misalignment with goals. So the bottom line is IULs can work for certain people with long-term planning and high risk tolerance. But for many, the complexity, fees, and uncertainty makes it less ideal than other options like term life plus a separate investment account. What do we sell? Buy term and do what? Invest the difference. Now, this is not Primerica talking. This is the Chat GPT, okay, telling you why we do what we do. Then it asked me, it said, if you want, Roy, this is what Chat is asking me. I can break it down into a super simple, why it may hurt people version. And I said, okay, let's do that. IUL can hurt people because they're expensive, complicated, and often don't grow as promised. Many buy them thinking they'll get big investments, but high fees, slow cash value growth, and long-term commitments can leave them disappointed, especially if they need money sooner. That's why one of the reasons why we don't buy it. I only have 3 minutes. There's more stuff you can add. Get the chat GPT, ask them about it, and it'll tell you everything why we do term and why we don't do IULs. But if anybody leave here to go sell that, you are ripping other people off, your friends and your family. And proof is right here. So if you can live with that, just because it pays you more money, and because you don't have to take no security license and all of that, and you don't want to go through the nose, and you don't want to recruit, go sell that. Go rip people off. And when you die, when you get to heaven, God is going to ask you, why did you sell IULs?
Mm, mm, mm. So you got to know why you do what you do, right? We got to know that. And before I'm going to see if I can share this one little clip right here. Hold on just a minute, y'all. Let me put my share on. I want to see if I can share this. One of my reps sent this to me yesterday.
Your purpose is not what you do. It's what happens to people when you do what you do. Don't betray yourself.
Listen to that again.
Your purpose is not what you do. It's what happens to people when you do what you do. Don't betray yourself.
Come on. What our purpose is not what we do. It's what happens to people when we do what we do. We know what John Rogers and Professor Bob just showed us what happens to people when we do what we do. We set them up, right? How do you feel when you deliver to a family a death claim, and also you can show them how to take 400,000 and turn it into be over 4 million when they get to retirement? How do you feel when you do that? Because I got to do that this year. I got to do that this year with somebody who had their policy for 9 months, y'all. Paid $9,000 into the policy. And we paid that family $750,000. Woo! You think I don't feel good? You think I don't feel like, Lord, thank you. I had a client just told me to yesterday help them get a gravestone for their mom, because he said, my sisters can't help me, Cynthia. I feel like it's my responsibility as the only son to make sure that my mom has a place where she's laid at. So yes, we had to pull some money out of his Roth IRA to do it. Not that much, y'all. He had some money there, but he said, I am so glad we have you and Roy in our lives. Y'all have been with us through some of the hardest times in our life. How do you feel about how they feel about you? Because I promise you, the people that sell that other stuff, those people are not going to feel the same about them. Don't betray yourself. So I got a little emotional on that, because that's what we do. That's what we do. Gary, that's what we do. Stephanie, Miss Carolyn, you've been there a while. That's what we do. Veronica and Chase, you know, you got to stay around here long enough to see. Well, Jessica had the experience, and I'm glad that my cousin jumped off so I can mention about her. You know, her husband died at 40. When they talk about that 53-year-old is the age of those widows, two of my widows, it was in their 40s and 50s. And what we do matters. And because of that, they're in the business now to right some wrongs. But I know I'm supposed to talk about commitment, but I just had to share that because the way everything just went today, it's all about, it's the heart. Woo, having a routine. And I'm gonna say we might have beat Matt last month, but he taught me how to do it. You know, where do you go in any type of industry? You know, most supervisors won't even train their people because they don't want them to be better than them. They don't want them to be able to maybe take their job. So they're not going to tell them everything they need to know to do the job because they just they too good. If I show them everything I got, then they're going to be replacing me on my job. But you have people here in this business, and we're gonna share with each other, and we're gonna help each other get better. But it's up to us to be willing to listen. That routine, what? I'm gonna tell you that 9 to 12. What? Now I'm up at the gym. I do my workout and do my time with God and everything I do, working on me and becoming that better person. But that 9 to 12, y'all, it is golden. It keeps you busy all day long. When you work that morning, your evenings is busy. And when it's busy, it's not busyness. It's productive. It's productive. Anyway, I'm giving Matt the kudos because I thank him. I do. Because he didn't have to do what he did to help us push to the next level too. This is a family business, y'all. You know, you got to see each other as family. When I come on here, I see John Rogers. I'm like, John, I got to go and share your $1,000 earned because a nurse has got with me, didn't get his license yet. I want to show him that $1,000 and turn it. He said, can you show me what you was talking about? How to do that? Sure can. Got an appointment with him at 1 o'clock today. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Can show you better than I can tell you. Right? But John didn't have to share that with me. No, that's just for me and my people. Matter of fact, I ain't sharing it with none of y'all Orenders. Y'all ain't like that. The room changes is changing the room for us, not for y'all. You see what I'm saying? But we're not like that. This is a family. You got to see anybody on here. If you need anything from me, all you got to do is call me. Y'all, I'm going to... Anyway, I got to go. We'll get. Anyway, let's jump. Let's jump. We gotta let go or stay stuck, right? We gotta let go or stay stuck. And I just love this guy, so I just gotta share a little bit of his story, and I'm gonna go. Y'all gotta listen fast like everybody else, because you know I let Roy have 3 minutes and he took 5.
Like, I gotta tell you, a situation happened with me and my son a few months ago. We were coming home on a Saturday morning from a workout. We were getting off on our exit. In Atlanta, it's storming. We're coming up on a red light. And as we're coming up on a red light, a big 18-wheeler truck pulls up on the side of us. It pushes a lot of water our way. I'm driving a truck and I drive with one hand. And so when it pushes the water our way, my truck does a slight shift. And when it does the slight shift, I think it's just a slight shift. But the truck keeps spinning. And I'm like, oh man, we're in a full-blown hydroplane. And I'm like, God, no. And we're spinning. And we're spinning toward a retainer wall. And my truck is taller than the retainer wall. And we're on a ramp. So I'm like, man, if we hit this retainer wall, then my son is gonna flip over into traffic. And so as we're spinning and we're spinning and we're spinning, something hits my spirit and says, Ink, let go of the wheel. I was like, God, I can't do it. I drive with one hand. It's the only control I got. And that's how we do in life, right? When life is asking more of us, when life is telling, let go of the wheel, let go of old situations, let go of old people, we're like, nah, this is the only control I got. Right? We contract, we squeeze. Right? When life is trying to take us to the next level, the quote says it, every next level of our lives demands a new version of us. When life is saying, let go of the wheel, like, nah, this is the only control I got. And we keep spinning. And I look at my son, and my son says to me, Dad, I feel like we're about to die. And it hits my spirit again. Let go of the wheel, Ink. Let it go. Spin, 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 We hit the retainer wall, we flip in the opposite direction. Flip, flip, we land upright. We land, I jump out of the truck, I run around to the other side, I grab my son, I check on him, I grab my phone, I call my wife. Said, hey babe, me and Ink just had an accident, we're here. It's like, I'm on my way. Hang up the phone.
Stop right there.
Brother, I can't. Traumatic. We just flipped, man. I'm in the midst of it, man.
Let me stop my share. Let me restart that. Come on, y'all. Did y'all hear? He had to do what? He had to let go of that wheel. He had to let go of that wheel.
I turn around. This time.
Now, let's see here.
Yeah. He says.
All right. All right. Now let me get back on here. I'm good. All right. When you let go of the wheel, when you let go, something magical happens. So you give room for God to work. But when he was trying to hold on, he was trying to stay in control. He was trying to be the one to make things happen. He had to let it go. See, we'll say no because that's the only control, but you got to let go of your will. WILL, your purpose, your plan, what you want, because all we can really control is our attitude and our activity, that daily routine that we do every day and the way we feel about what we do. We got to control that. That's all we can control. I'm going to show up. I'm going to have a good attitude. I'm going to work my numbers. I'm going to reach out to people. I'm going to take some no's. I'm going to get up every day. I'm going to do it again, that routine. But when you let go and let God, when God comes in the room, God works. God works. See, let go or stay stuck. Let go or stay stuck. The X factor in life is people. We want to think it's the products, it's people. We want to go and find more people to help us in this fight. Three to get three to get three. You see, when you find more people, when they go after the crusade with you, like Roy said, it's not you by yourself, it's you with a team that gets the job done. A team will beat an individual. Michael Jordan could not beat the Lakers. He couldn't beat the Lakers by himself. Jordan needed a team to work with him. Everybody needs a team to get more done. See, people may forget what you do or may forget what you say, but people will never forget how you made them feel. Make them feel special. Make them feel important. Make them feel like they're the best thing on this team. Make them feel like they have the it factor. They have what it takes to win, y'all. Don't make them feel good. That's what people want to feel. Because in life, they get beat up every single day. Right? So every new level, y'all heard him say, will demand a new version of you. Like Matt said, we got to get better. What are you listening to? What are you doing? Who is your devotion? What books are you reading? You got to improve yourself to go to the next level because you can't take the old you, Roy. You can't take the old you, Kim, to that next level. It's going to demand something of you. The next level, Tony, is demanding change. Right? Daryl is demanding us to get better. We got to do that. And see, value people. You gotta value other people. See, we get that. We get what we give. We're gonna get reaping and sowing, right? The law of reciprocity. What you sow, you're gonna reap. So you're gonna get what you give. The golden rule, Matthew 7:12 said, so in everything, do to others what you would want them to do to you. And Coach always says, you gotta want for others what you want for yourself. See, I want to see my team go over six figures. I want see my team as RVPs. I want to see them making that 250,000. Why? Because they deserve to do it if they do the work. Yo, if you do the work, you deserve to do it. But you gotta value people. You gotta put some really value into the people around you. You can't treat people like they're treating them like they're a transaction. You know when people say, "Hey, coach, I got me one." "Hey, coach, I got me an IBA." "Yeah, I got me one." No, what you got is you got a real person with real people with real lives. So you can't waste the experience. You can't waste the experiences that we have in life, because when we treat people like transactions and everything's a transaction, you're wasting the experience. Okay, I believe I made this PowerPoint. See, January 2025, we was in North Carolina at Get Big or Go Home, and I had a mind shift. I heard Matt say it from the stage, right market diet, right market diet. And he said about 3 or 4 times, don't waste the experience. Get yourself on the right market, right? On the way back from the Get Big in the airport, I told the other day, I made 2 calls. One was to Patrick Orender, and the second one was to, I called Coach who wasn't available. So I called Patrick and I told him what I was going to do. Then I called Matt. I said, "Matt, help me. Tell me what you're doing. How do I do it? Where do I go?" He said, "You got to let go of some things that you do in the morning, Cynthia. Some of those other things, you got to let them go." Right? So I did. And I made the decision to do the right work. People say I'm working, but are you doing the right work? The right work is making sure that you're prospecting, make sure that you're reaching out to people. I didn't want to waste our Get Big and Go Home experience anymore. I was tired of being the same every single month that I went there. My income wasn't changing. My team wasn't growing. I was tired of that. So I was willing to make the change for me so I can make the change for my team so everybody can get better. We can all move up. Does that make sense? Get big or go home means get big or go home. It's time to get big. And it's time for Orender Champions go to 2.0. Let's get big, or we're going to end up going home. Is that where you want to be? I know we work from home, but do you really want to just be at home, not doing anything, watching TV, feeling sad about yourself, feeling busted and disgusted? Is that what you want? Well, if you don't make the decision to change, then that's where you're going to stay. See, it talks about having the capacity. That's a person's ability, their role or their position. See, for this journey called Primerica, for this journey called getting to regional vice president, for the dream of becoming a 6-figure and a 7-figure earner, being an MDE by the conventions, those dreams for the goals and the aspirations you set for you and your family. Do you have the capacity? Because a lot of people have the skill set and they have the talent. We skilled and we're talented. We can do. I'm an S personality, technical. I got it. I know how to do that. I know how to do that. See, I'm not, but don't know how to figure how I did this PowerPoint. I don't know. It was the grace of God, but no, I'm serious. No capacity. They have no capacity, Don, for commitment, for determination. Veronica, for determination, no capacity to finish what they start. When it gets hard, you said, when it gets hard, ooh, Mufasa, we get all scared and we got to go run and we got to go hide because we scared to go and get what God already told us we can have. He placed in us a gift and talents to get this thing done. Almost done, y'all. So in life, it's not that you don't have what it takes to win, but know that winning is going to take all that you got. You're going to have to give it all you got. Put it all on the line. Because you have what it takes, but it's going to take all that you got. Now, almost a concrete commitment, because there's one thing to be committed, but concrete commitment, ain't no fake stuff. See, can you be commitment? Can you stay true to what you said you would do after the move that you said it has left? Can you be committed to the process of doing what you are doing without being emotionally attached to the results? Oh, they didn't show up. Oh, they left me unread. Oh, I sent it out and they didn't do nothing. Oh, so you're attached, you're emotionally attached to the results. But when you trust the process, you do it anyway, because if you keep on doing it, you're going to get the results that you want. Don't be emotionally attached to the results, but trust the process. Does that make sense? Arissa, does that make sense? Right? Tim, Charles, Mary, it makes sense, right? So concrete commitment. If the outcome changes, does it change you? Gail, does it change you if the process changes the outcome? If you don't get what you wanted from a situation, does it change the thing you said you wanted? Maybe God didn't mean for me to be here. I thought he told me to come here, but maybe I missed him. God didn't lie. The Bible says he's not a man that he should lie, nor the son of man that he should repent. If he said he's going to make it good, he told you what to do. It's for you to do it. And does it change your ambition, your dedication, your commitment level? Do you still love what you said you love? I love what Matt said. I'm going to be committed when I get married. You got to get committed now. I'm going to be excited once I see it in my bank account. You got to get excited now, or you got to seize it before you seize it. If you don't see it with your mind's eye, you're never going to hold it in your hand. It's never going to hit your bank account. It's never going to hit your bank account if you don't get excited about life right now. Get excited, Rocky. Get excited about it, right? Jennifer? And then the thing is, what are you made of for real? What are you made of? Opposition makes the win sweeter. Adversity causes some people to break, and other people break records. So, Rod, what are you made of? Right? The same boiling water that hardens an egg softens a potato. What are you made of? The same 212 degrees. There's different things, the two different things. But it's all about what you're made of, right? What you got to do is go find some real people to be around your life. Some people you can talk to, the people that will tell you the real truth, and then they're going to tell you can do it. You got to get some people that's going to encourage you, to tell you, yes, you can. Don't listen to all those naysayers and those doubters, those people that tell us no. Y'all, you got to make a decision and make a commitment that you're going to win no matter what. No matter what. And when you get around those people, you stay around them, you keep them in your circle, and what you want to do is make sure that you give to them the same thing that they give to you. That reciprocity. If they give you a good word, you give them something. If they tell you you can, you tell them they can. And y'all get real people around your life and watch your life explode. Watch it explode. Watch it happen. It's going to happen for all of us. Y'all, we're this close. We're this close to hitting our next milestone. We're this close, and with the work of the team, we will cross over this month. We'll cross over this month, this close to 200K, and we are pushing like crazy. There's no rest for the weary, because all you can do is all you can do, but all you can do is enough. And with that said, all you can do is turn it back over to Tony, because I'm done.
Dang. Folks, give her the love. Now you know why she closed us out. I can't even talk. I'm not even going to wrap that up. There's nothing else that needs to be said. Drop the mic, drop the mouse. Folks, let's go change the world. Let's go rescue the world. And Cynthia, we are going to be so excited to hear you talk next weekend, the 24th and 25th, folks. She's already the speaker. We already know when this is going to be your talk. Like Coach's Wall of Wealth, Coach's Multiples, this is going to be your talk. So excited. Folks, let's go do this. Thank you to all the speakers that spoke today. Thank you for everyone who's sharing. And we'll see you guys Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Central for the off night, and come with guests. Take care, everybody. Good night or good day.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job, everybody. Hi, Tony.
Thank you. It was awesome.